The Trump administration fired FEMA's chief financial officer and 3 other employees for sending New York City $59 million for illegal immigrants after the payments were ordered halted. Also this past week, President Trump called for abolishing the Federal Emergency Management Agency, saying local governments can handle recovery better and spend the money more wisely. Today, Lisa Fletcher visits a North Carolina town hit hard by Helene last fall to find out what has come of Trump's guarantee to jumpstart help.
This is Swannanoa, North Carolina, in the aftermath of a rogue hurricane that ripped through this small mountain town, leaving it in ruins. Today, it's a town frozen in time. Businesses on Main Street stand in ruins, their contents twisted and jumbled, cars filled with silt still parked, unmoved, since the day Helene caused the river here to crest over 27 feet.
We're looking at more very heavy rain.
It's getting dangerous here, so as soon as we're done with this live shot, we need to get out of here.
More than 100 lives were lost in North Carolina. More than 200 people died in total across the region. The lives of many others disrupted, and many of those still struggling.
I have an apple crisp. One.
Kevin Halford lost his home in the flood. We met him at a mobile soup kitchen supported wholly by the people in the community.
I spent 4 hours during the flood underneath the overpass up here. Once it stopped, I was able to get out, saw that the river down here had taken over the main road.
There have been a lot of donations and a lot of help from individuals, but as far as what you expected from the state or the federal government, where does that fall?
In the beginning, it was like hardly existent, and now it seems to be getting better, and I thank Trump for that.
Within weeks of the storm, then candidate Trump made a stop and a promise.
I will support and totally complete the rebuilding of every region and town and city that was devastated by the hurricane, and I will slash through every bureaucratic barrier that you're having already and having problems with right now, I understand pretty badly.
Mike Stewart was there that day, the man behind Trump in the white hat.
Everything's gone.
It was over here.
He owns a storage shed business that washed away in the flood.
Oh, this is where the storage lot was, right there. There's...
Then candidate Trump, he said that if he were put back in the White House, that he would help, he would fix this.
Yeah.
What did you make of those comments at the time?
I stood face to face with him and was able to look him in the eyes and try to get a sense of sincerity, whether he was for real or whether he was a politician talking. And my sense was he was for real. He was the only one that had the dust from Swannanoa on his shoes. But he made the promise, if I get elected, I will be back and we'll get this area taken care of.
In January, just days after the inauguration, President Trump returned.
Today, here I am to deliver on that promise, and we have a lot of things in mind, and we're getting the Army Corps of Engineers all set. You need your riverbanks fixed, you need a lot of roads fixed, and we're going to get it done in rapid time.
And just days ago, the sound of progress. The Army Corps of Engineers, along with contractors and county crews, cleaning roadsides and removing splintered trees and debris from the Swannanoa River. Even the cab of an 18-wheeler is finally out of the water.
The executive order told us to go faster. We heard it loud and clear. The governor told
Colonel
us to go
Brad
faster.
Morgan is with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Within the last week or so, we've really been able to clear a lot of bottlenecks to get a lot of the permitting and a lot of the other coordination finalized, and that's enabled us to get started.
So far, the Corps has collected more than 1 million cubic yards of debris. According to Colonel Morgan, it isn't even half of what the storm left behind.
You know, in talking to just residents, some have felt that they saw an initial surge of help from FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, and then they feel like things just went away, and now you're you're back.
We were here, we finished our first pass in a lot of our communities. We're starting that second pass.
What's the timeline that you're on?
So for waterway debris removal, the goal is June the 1st. And then we've also targeted finalizing our private property debris removal by the end of June. Our goal is to get that out of people's way, out of people's lives, so that the recovery process and the rebuilding process can continue.
And just last weekend, the Army Corps efforts and relief efforts overall came under review of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
We had the chance to see some of the waterways being cleared today with the partnership of the Army Corps of Engineers.
The Homeland Secretary promised not only changes in support for relief in North Carolina, but changes in FEMA itself.
Perhaps it is going to be eliminating a lot of what FEMA is at the federal level and giving the authority, the dollars, and the money to the states so that they can deploy that.
And she gave credit to those who helped themselves.
There you go. What happened in North Carolina was incredibly special. You don't see this in every other state, how people don't worry about themselves and about their homes. They went and helped their neighbor who was losing everything.
If Swannanoa wasn't built for the storm, the people were. Terry Dolan and Matt Barker didn't know each other before the storm. They say Helene has left them and the town stronger.
Nobody cares about where you're coming from politically or in any other way. We're all surviving this together and we're all helping each other out.
And at the end of the day, I feel pretty confident that Swannanoa, North Carolina, is going to have a better community to raise children in, to have businesses in, than we did before the storm. I feel confident we're going to get there.
Can Trump do away with FEMA?
No, he said he was planning an executive order to fundamentally overhaul the agency, but under federal law, it requires an act of Congress.
And we haven't always had FEMA, of course, so maybe we don't really need it.
No, I mean, going all the way back to 1803, there was a patchwork of laws that would handle things like these disasters. But in 1979, President Carter felt that that wasn't working, and it wasn't streamlined, and it was politically corrupt, and that's why he created FEMA. Obviously, the Trump administration feels it didn't succeed the way President Carter wanted it to.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.